Imagine for a moment the possibility, the simple thought of beginning anew, making a change, so deep that it feels like hitting the reset button on your life. Now, I want you to truly grasp this. Starting fresh doesn't mean abandoning the life you're living right now. It's not about throwing everything away and saying, I'm done. No, it's about taking intentional, thoughtful steps to reimagine, rebuild, and refresh your journey. Here's the key point to remember. Everything is created twice. Think about that for a second. Everything you see around you was first an idea. Someone envisioned it, dreamed it up, planned it before they ever brought it into existence. Whether it's a skyscraper, a city, a business, or a career, all of it was created twice. First in the mind, then it becomes a reality. Your life is no different. If you're ready to begin anew, you must first imagine it. Visualize every detail. What does it look like? How does it feel? What does it mean? You have to get crystal clear about that vision. People often ask me how to start turning things around. They've had enough of the old habits, the same routines, and the recurring story they've been living year after year. They're ready for something new. And what do I tell them? It starts with a decision. Nothing changes until you make that choice. You have to decide with such conviction, with such commitment, that it's like drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is it. From this moment on, I'm creating a new story, a new path. Starting fresh means shaking things up, altering something fundamental. Begin with your environment, your associations, and your daily habits. It's going to require courage. Why? Because most people get comfortable in their routines, even if those routines make them miserable. Isn't that ironic? They fall into a rut, just going through the motions day after day, stuck in the same cycle. But comfort, my friends, is the enemy of progress. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're slowly withering away. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to create? Don't answer with vague statements like, I want to be happy or I want to be successful. Be specific. Picture the details clearly in your mind. If it's a new career you're after, what does it look like? What industry? What kind of people are you working with? If it's a better relationship, what qualities you want to cultivate and what kind of person do you want to become in that relationship? Now, here's the crucial part of starting a new life. You've got to be willing to leave the old one behind. It may sound simple, but it's not easy. Why? Because you have attachments, and those attachments have shaped who you are. They've shaped your habits, your reactions, and your beliefs. Some people say they want change, but they're still holding on to the old because it feels familiar. Familiarity has a certain power. You need to be honest with yourself about what you're still clinging to that no longer serves you. Think about the people in your life. There are two types: those who will push you to reach your potential and those who will keep you stuck in your old story. You have to be aware of who you're surrounding yourself with. If you're always around people who doubt, worry, and constantly complain, chances are you'll start to fall into the same path. But if you align yourself with those who have vision, who are excited by possibilities, and who are actively growing, then that energy is contagious. It lifts you up, it inspires you, and it holds you to a higher standard. Changing your surroundings is just part of the process. Starting a new life also requires changing the way you see yourself is crucial. You must have a clear vision of the person you're becoming. I'm telling you, how you see yourself directly influences how you act. If you view yourself as someone who's struggling, just trying to get by, then that's exactly how you'll live. But if you can look in the mirror and see someone who's on the rise, someone capable, confident, and purposeful, then every action you take will align with that vision. You've got to start speaking the language of your new life. Words are incredibly powerful. They're seeds. When you speak words of possibility, you're planting seeds of possibility. But if you speak the language of limitation, self-doubt, and fear, that's what will grow. Be cautious of what you say, especially to yourself. Self-talk plays a massive role in transformation. Some people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to someone else. They say things like, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, I'll never make it. Those words create chains that hold you back. The words you speak shape the life you live. Starting fresh means creating new habits, because habits build momentum. Think of a habit as a daily vote for the person you want to become. A single habit done consistently over time has the power to transform your life. Many people think success is about big things, big goals, big dreams, big change. But in reality, it's the small daily disciplines that make all the difference. The person you'll be a year from now is determined by what you do every single day. If you want to get in better shape, you don't need to jump from never exercising to running a marathon. Start with a daily walk or commit to eating one healthy meal each day. But do it every day. When you do something small consistently, it compounds. And the beauty of that is momentum begins to build. Soon enough, you'll notice a shift, not just in your body, but in your confidence, energy, and outlook. That's the power of habit. Now, here's something important to remember. Starting a new life means you have to forgive yourself for past mistakes. You've got to release regret. I met so many people haunted by what they didn't do or the mistakes they made. But regret, if you're not careful, can be poison. Holding on to it will only weigh you down, preventing you from moving forward. I'm not saying to ignore the past. There's value in learning from it. But once you've learned the lesson, let it go. Picture it this way. Imagine you're holding a heavy stone in each hand. One labeled past failures and the other missed opportunities. Now try climbing a mountain while holding those stones. Impossible, right? To climb higher, you have to lighten your load. To start a new life, you need to let go of those stones. Here's something many people don't consider, but it plays a huge role in starting over: our beliefs. The beliefs you hold about yourself and the world around you shape your life. They're like a lens that filters every experience. Starting fresh often means adopting a new set of beliefs. You may need to challenge and release beliefs that have kept you stuck. It's often not reality itself that holds us back, but how we perceive reality. It's the beliefs that keep us grounded in a life that's less than what we desire. To begin anew, you may need to break free from the chains of those old beliefs and replace them. Start telling yourself, I am worthy of a better life, and I have what it takes to change. If you say it often enough, if you truly feel it, it starts to take root, and before you know it, you're moving in a new direction. I'm telling you, the path to a new life will bring challenges. That's just part of it. Change is uncomfortable, and that discomfort tests your resolve. Some people want change, but only if it's easy. They say they want a new life, but aren't willing to face the struggles that come with it. But those struggles, those tests, are what build character. They prove to you that you're serious about the change. So here's my question. Are you willing to embrace discomfort for the sake of transformation? Are you prepared to be a little uncomfortable, a little uncertain, and a little challenged? Because that's what starting a new life requires. It's going to require more from you than your old life ever did. It's going to ask for more resilience, more patience, more courage. And I'm telling you, if you're willing to answer that call, if you're ready to rise to the challenge, the rewards will be worth every ounce of effort. Think about this for a moment. If you could design the life you want, what would it look like? What if you could wake up every day feeling excited, purposeful, knowing that what you're doing is meaningful? Imagine a life where you're surrounded by people who lift you up, where you have energy, where you're always learning, growing, and becoming more. Picture how that life would feel. Now ask yourself, what am I willing to do today to get closer to that vision? Because that's how you start a new life. One step, one choice, one decision at a time. It's not about perfection. Don't wait for everything to be perfectly aligned. Don't wait for that magical moment when everything clicks. There is no perfect moment. There's just now. And now is the time to make a decision and take that first step, no matter how small. When you wait for perfection, you're giving yourself an excuse to do nothing. You'll tell yourself, I'll start when the timing is right, or I'll wait until I'm ready. But if you're always waiting, you'll never actually begin. And let me tell you, once you take that first step, the path becomes clearer. The next step will reveal itself, and then the next, and before you know it, you'll be well on your way. Starting a new life also involves learning to embrace failure in a new way. Most people see failure as a stop sign, something to avoid at all costs. But if you're going to change your life, you need to see failure as a teacher. Every failure carries a lesson, and every lesson is a step forward. When I was younger, I used to view every mistake as a blow to my confidence. But one day I realized that each failure was actually a stepping stone, showing me what didn't work and pointing me in a better direction. Think of it this way. If you've been living one way for years and want to start anew, mistakes are inevitable. It's a natural part of the process. Look at a child learning to walk. They fall, they stumble, they even cry, but they don't give up. As adults, we can learn a lot from that persistence. So when you stumble, when you make mistakes, don't be discouraged. Remember, failure isn't final. It's just part of the journey. And here's one thing you absolutely need if you want to start a new life: discipline. People often overlook discipline because it sounds tough. It sounds like a restriction, like you're holding yourself back from something. But let me tell you, discipline is not a punishment. It's the bridge between your goals and your accomplishments. Discipline is what keeps you going when motivation fades. You might feel excited and motivated at the start, but that excitement will fade over time. Discipline, however, sticks around. It keeps you going even when things get tough. The great news is discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. You You start small with one simple habit and then you build from there. The key is consistency. You don't have to do everything at once. You just need to keep moving, keep showing up, and keep doing those small things each day that bring you closer to the new life you're building. When you're trying to start fresh, you'll have to leave your comfort zone. I get it. Comfort zones are cozy, familiar places, but nothing grows there. Growth only happens just outside that zone. That's where the magic occurs. But here's the tricky part. When you start stretching yourself, when you step out of your comfort zone, your mind will try to trick you. It'll whisper things like, what if you fail, or who do you think you are? But remember, those are just thoughts. They only have power if you give them power. Here's a tool I find helpful whenever doubt creeps in. Ask yourself, what if I succeed? Most people spend their lives asking, what if it doesn't work out? But what if it does work out? What if you really do succeed? What if all the changes you're making lead you exactly where you want to be? Allow yourself to entertain that possibility. Imagine the best case scenario instead of the worst. Here's something else you're going to need if you want to start a new life: goals. You can't start a new life without a clear destination. Think of goals as the milestones on your journey. They give you direction, purpose, and something to aim for. But here's the thing about goals. It's not enough just to set them. You have to make them part of your daily life. Most people set goals once, maybe at the beginning of the year, and then forget about them. But if you're serious about starting fresh, you need to keep those goals front and center. Write them down, look at them every day, break them into smaller steps so they don't feel overwhelming, and keep moving toward them, even if it's just one step at a time. A small step forward is still progress. And when you achieve those smaller goals, take time to celebrate and acknowledge your progress, even if it's just a tiny step. Success builds on success, and each small win gives you the momentum to keep going. Starting a new life also means taking responsibility for where you are and where you're headed. Now, that's a tough pill for some to swallow, but it's the truth. If you keep blaming others, the world, or circumstances, you're giving away your power. You're saying, I can't change because of them. But when you take responsibility, you take back control. You acknowledge, I am where I am because of the choices I've made. And if I want to be somewhere else, I need to start making different choices. Responsibility is empowering because it puts the power back in your hands. If you want to start a new life, you have to begin making new choices every day. Every moment brings choices, some small, some big, but they all add up. Each choice you make is either taking you closer to the life you want or pulling you further away. So get into the habit of asking yourself, is this choice in line with the new life I want to create? It's a simple question, but it can be a powerful guide. There's one more crucial element in starting a new life: patience. Starting fresh is not an overnight transformation, it's a journey. There will be days when it feels like you're not making any progress, when you wonder if it's all worth it. But I'm telling you, every small action, every step of discipline is moving you closer to your goal. Change takes time. And real transformation is a gradual process. But if you stay consistent, if you keep pushing forward, eventually you'll look back and see just how far you've come. Be patient with yourself. It's okay if things don't happen as quickly as you want. It's okay to stumble or get discouraged along the way. What matters is that you keep going. Growth is like planting a seed. It takes time to bloom. You don't see the fruits of your labor right away, but with time and care, they blossom. So don't rush the process. Trust that if you stay committed, if you keep taking those small steps, you'll get there. I want you to remember something important. Starting a new life isn't about escaping your past. It's about learning from it and moving forward. Sometimes people think they need to run away from everything they've done, to erase their mistakes and start completely fresh. But your past has value. Your experiences, even the tough and painful ones, have taught you lessons that shaped who you are. Instead of running from your past, embrace it. Take those lessons with you, but don't let the past control your future. And above all, remember, it's never too late to start again. It doesn't matter if you're 20, 40, or 70. If you have the desire to change, you can. I've seen people transform their lives at every age, in every situation, and from every background. Age is no barrier. Circumstances are no barrier. The only barrier is the belief that you can't. So don't let that belief stop you. It's never too late to rewrite your story. Think of life as a series of seasons. Some seasons are for planting, some are for growing, some are for harvesting, and sometimes you need a season of rest, a time to reflect, to reimagine, and to prepare for what's next. If you're at a point where you're ready for something new, maybe this is your season of renewal, a time to start fresh, to plant the seeds of a new beginning. Starting a new life means giving yourself permission to be a beginner again.